Hi, Thomas. It's me, Christopher Eden Sarantakis. I'm going to read a book to you because we're doing reading partner buddies and because of what's happening. The book I'm reading is called In Search of the Great Wild Kawkins. It has the Best Books Award, finalist, USA Book News. It's written and illustrated by C.F. Lawrenson. This book was actually made by my father's art teacher in high school. In Search of the Great Wild Kawkins. And he actually signed it. For Chris always believed um believed well believe. Fred believed. Fred Lawrenson. And this book was made in 2012. It's a copyright. The acknowledgments are to Blaine for your childhood imagination. No names were changed to protect the innocent. To Kristen, you helped me more than you know. To Holly, you always helped me more than you know. Many thanks to Aaron Green and Bonnie Oxley for your editing help. For Alba, Jack, Eliza, Elisha, Chastity, Isaac. Because you have seen me, you have believed. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. John 20:29 NIV. Okay, let's get on with the book. Good morning, Blaine, I heard Mom say as she peeked into the room. The weekend's here. It's Saturday, and breakfast will be ready soon. Oh boy, I thought. It's pancake day with scrambled eggs and ham. I'll clean up my plate all the way, 'cause today I'm Explorer Sam. This is Sam in his bedroom, waking up. Mom said, Blaine, I mean Sam, what is it you will explore? And I replied, the great green forest of Zazard. She smiled and said, don't slam the door, and please stay in your own backyard. I'll find the great wild Kawkins, I thought, in a strange and faraway land. What's everyone looked for, but no one has caught, I'll bring back with my own two hands. I will need my rope and net, of course, and my best dog, Cinnamon, 'cause even I have to take him by force. Explorer Sam never gives in. This is him at the table, eating his work, thinking of what he's going to bring, because he's Explorer Sam. We walked to the pines at the edge of the lawn, with the sun still low in the east. All big game hunters start out at dawn, when they hunt down their favorite beast. Then, suddenly, I heard that familiar bark, and Cinnamon ran like a shot, to chase that old woodchuck, his favorite lark. To the hole just north of our lot, I yelled out his name, trying to turn him around, but that dog didn't listen a bit. He chased that old chuck to his hole in the ground, and he still wasn't ready to quit. This is Cinnamon going to the hole, you see where the ground chuck is, and Sam sees it. I finally reached that hole in the hill, as my dog disappeared, underground. He had jumped right in of his own free will. With no thought of turning around, although I was scared, I followed him in, never pausing to think of the cost. It was dark and damp, but I'd do it again. 'Cause I couldn't let Cinnamon get lost. And Cinnamon barked and there was light up ahead. He had found the way out, I just knew it. No time to be scared anymore, I said, and I crawled even faster right to it. Here is Sam in the hole trying to get his dog Cinnamon. Climbing out of that cave, the bright sun made me squint, but I still knew it wasn't my yard. A small sign on a tree gave me my first hint. It read, "Welcome to the Forest of Cesard." Cinnamon could see the surprise in my face as I looked at the sign once again. Mom said Mom said that Cesard was in a make-believe place, a land called Imagination.
She here.
Sorry. This land seemed strangely untouched by man, as if no one had been here before. No papers or bottles or thrown away cans to litter this great forest floor. All the leaves and wildflowers were a wonderful sight, much larger than I'd seen. The ferns were so thick and unusually bright, like an ocean of turquoise and green. Then Cinnamon gently tugged on my sock to remind me of why we were here. "The Kawkins!" I yelled. I almost forgot. Our mission was once again clear. Oops. We walked a small path toward the heart of the woods, where I knew the wild Kawkins would be, when I heard a low growl as Cinnamon stood staring up into a tree. Well, I have to admit, I was mildly surprised when I saw that old woodchuck up there. I blinked and I rubbed, trying to clear up my eyes, 'cause a sight like this has to be rare. "Woodchucks don't perch in trees," I said, and Cinnamon promptly agreed. Then I heard a voice say, "Oh, the thoughts in your head. You humans are funny indeed." Although I was shocked, I politely replied, "I thought woodchucks lived in the ground." "Your trees aren't safe," the woodchuck sighed. "People are always cutting them down." There's the woodchuck in the tree. "We're looking for the great wild Kawkins," I said. "Do you know where we can find him?" "Sure. He lives in the clearing of light up ahead," the woodchuck said with a grin. "I know why you come here," the woodchuck confessed. "I've led other young dreamers before you. But true beauty is free and cannot be possessed. What you take, we all lose. I implore you, thanks for the tip," I said, cutting him off, though I really wasn't sure what he meant. Then I hurried off, leaving him perched on his loft to find out where Cinnamon went. I ran so fast my shoes came untied, but I caught him at the big rocks. Then I saw the bright lights on the other side. As I tied them and pulled up my socks, we climbed up the rocks toward that bright golden glow, till we reached the source of that light. From the top of the rocks we peeked down below and saw a magnificent sight. I think they might maybe have found the Kawkins. Oh, in the center of the clearing where the sun meets the ground was the most colorful creature I've seen. The glimmering light floating silently down seemed to brighten his colors and make his eyes gleam. He had a long beak that was hooked at the end, and a neck that was somewhat at the same. A neck that in any direction would bend, to see just who went and who came. The Kawkins. He was tall as my dad, top to toenails, and even longer than that front to back. A walking rainbow of feathers and scales, I thought as we planned our attack. As I got my net out, my heart pounded with hope. Cinnamon was ready to spring, but I got tangled up in putting a loop in my rope and tumbled down the hill toward that thing. I came to a stop right near his big claw. We had suddenly come face to beat, and as I pondered his ability to crush me like straw, my stomach began to feel weak. Then he opened his mouth, and I thought I was gone, but his warm, crackly voice eased my fear. I certainly don't know why it took you so long, but I'm glad that you're finally here, the Kawkins says. You knew I was coming? I said, getting up. Of course, I'm the great wild Kawkins, young man. I know all about you and your pup, and of your rope, net, and plan. Then you know I'm here to capture you, I replied, feeling sassy and brave, though I had to confess, I hadn't a clue as to how he would have fit through that cave. The Kawkins and Sam meet. You must understand that I'm one of a kind. There's no other creature like me. This clearing's my home, he said, and you'll find there's no other place I should be. This adventure you have had and the sights you have seen should be saved for others who dare to look behind the world as it seems and see new possibilities there. But I've come a long way, I said in return. I'm afraid I will still have to insist, the Kawkins replied. You have so much to learn, but I promise I will not resist. So I slipped my leash over his head as he bent, politely accepting his fate. Then off through the woods toward home we went because I knew it was getting quite late. They'll make me a national hero, I thought. There will probably be a parade. Then I noticed the colors on the prize that I caught had suddenly started to fade. The farther we walked from that clearing of light, the paler the Kawkins became. The paler the Kawkins became. His eyes weren't so bright, and I thought that he might be walking as if we were lame. Then, as we stepped in a low, swampy bog, with our cave just yards up ahead, I saw the last of his color melt away like a fog. I could see right through him, yet his feet seemed like lead. I couldn't believe how rapid the change from the beautiful beast I had seen, and it happened so fast. I knew something was strange. Could this be some sort of a scheme? Kawkins, I yelled, what's the matter with you? You're weak and your colors are gone. You're stumbling and sagging and breathing hard too. Oh, Kawkins, please tell me what's wrong. He lifted his head so breathless and pale, then looked me straight in the eye. I could hardly hear his voice. His voice was so frail, but I'll never forget his reply. If you let me down and went home all alone and told others what you saw here, would they believe your story without being shown, or would they just laugh, joke, and sneer? That's why I must take you, I started to say, though his body was now wrinkled and curled. Then I may fade, he said. completely away, for I do not exist in their world. I no longer felt like Explorer Sam, whose ambitions were reckless and vain. I would help the Kawkins out of this jam, and just be who I am. I'm Blaine. Oh, Kawkins, I cried. I'm so sorry for this. I never wanted you to fade. I'll help you get back to the light, I promise, and fix all the problems I made. Then I helped push him up on his wobbly feet, while Cinnamon turned him around. Our adventure now wouldn't be complete till we returned to the Kawkins' home ground. We pushed and we pulled, trying to help him along, till the day began turning to night. Keep trying, I yelled. You've got to be strong. Then I looked up and there was the light. It seemed to be stretching and reaching for us, touching down here and there like a frost. The light rode on a breeze, as if knowing it must link up with the creature it lost. Then a gust of bright light reached our party of three. That made my eyes water and burn. But I could still see our Kawkins unfurl like a tree, and his color began to return. He lifted his head and stretched out his great wings, looking once again wild and free. Then his colors flowed back like flowers in spring, as he absorbed all the light's energy. Now completely restored, he lowered his head and said thank you to Cinnamon and me. If you had not helped me back, he said, I'm afraid I would no longer be. The light is the love that comes from those hearts that believe in the things they can't see. Without it, my world would soon fall apart. It's the faith of dreamers whose light follows me and me. Much of the daylight was gone by now, except where the Kawkins stood. And I knew I must get to the cave somehow while the little light left was still good. As I ran down the path, we yelled our goodbyes, and I shouted, someday I'll come back, I'll be here, he said. Someday I'll come back. I'll be here, he said, right behind your eyes. Just a dream as the ticket folks lack. Then I ran so fast, trying to get to that cave, that I felt like I hardly touched the ground. And as I turned my head for one last wave, things started spinning around. Oops. A floating sensation gently lifted me up, then laid me back down just as slick, and I found myself lying in the grass, my pup, who's giving my face quite a lick. Then I thought I heard Mom calling my name, and I realized I was in my own yard. It was bright, and I heard her say, lunchtime, Blaine. But wasn't it nighttime in Cesard? Had I fallen asleep on that soft, grassy knoll? I thought then I turned round to see that the woodchuck was peeking in his head out that hole, and I swear he was blinking at me. Okay, I think that... Oh, sorry. Okay, I think that is actually it. Okay. I hope you're doing good, Thomas. I hope you like the book. Have a good day, Thomas. Thank you for watching my video. Bye.